Hi, I'm John Khosravi, Managing Attorney of the JQK Immigration Law Firm, helping people from across the world come and live their lives successfully in the United States. And today we're going to talk about the diversity visa lottery. In particular, those people who've won the lottery, they've got the notification that they won, but they're going to apply for a green card from within the United States in a process called adjustment of status. This is as opposed to people who are overseas or are going to leave the U.S. and go to the embassy to the interview and get approved and then come to the United States. Again, these are people who are here and want to stay here. So we're going to talk about 3 important questions that pop up regularly, and we're going to answer those questions in this video. Thank you again for joining us in this discussion about the green card lottery and for those who are going to adjust status, meaning apply for green card from within the United States. Typically, there's 3 major questions that pop up that I want to answer here and deal with here, because you're going to see this issue come up if you're intending on filing for adjustment of status in the United States. So number 1, what's the first question? How do I stay in the United States legally while the process is pending? Because you may have a tourist visa, for example, you may have a student visa, you may have some other type of visa that's going to expire. So you're like, well, how am I going to maintain status? How am I going to stay here and not be out of status, violate my green card or violate my immigration status so that I could be able to get a green card? They don't kick me out or something like that. Well, the cool thing is, if you are in valid status, meaning you're maintaining your status, you've been a tourist visa holder, it has not expired. You have a student visa, has not expired, you're still going to school, or you have a work visa that has not expired. If you have valid status, the second you file Form I-485 adjustment of status, you're allowed to remain in the United States on a period of authorized stay. So let's say you're a tourist visa holder in the 4th month of your trip onto the U.S., you all of a sudden win the diversity visa lottery, and you're like, whoa, wonderful, I want to stay here. Well, in those situations, you only have 2 months more left on your tourist visa typically. A tourist visa normally is 6 months, you have 2 months left. Although you've won the diversity visa lottery, you won't be able to file for adjustment of status or green card paperwork for many months afterwards. So in that kind of case, you won't be able to maintain your status long enough to file the green card case and start it. So that becomes a problem there. However, if you are in the United States and you're here validly, when the time comes when you can file for a green card, Form I-485 adjustment of status, once that's filed and you get the receipt, you could maintain yourself in the United States until a decision is made on your case. But then the question pops up is, how do I know when my time is to be here? Well, when you win the diversity visa lottery, you get a case number, and the last 3 to 5 digits there will have your place in line. That's the location you are relative to other people in your geographic location, as in the line of when your turn is to get the green card. And if you go to a chart, it's called the Visa Bulletin chart. You type this in Google, it'll come up on a Department of State website. It's a chart system that gets updated every month as this line moves forward. It gives you an idea and lets you know where you are in that line relative to other people. And once that line goes to a certain extent that passes your number, you could file Form I-485 adjustment of status if you've maintained lawful status and apply for the green card in the U.S. so that you can stay here during that process. So again, you go to Visa Bulletin, the website for the Department of State. The first link that usually comes up takes you there, and there'll be a month-to-month chart. You check the most recent month, scroll down to the bottom, that's where the diversity visa charts are, and you see your number relative to where the numbers are being adjudicated. And if it passes your number, then you could file Form I-485 with USCIS along with the rest of the forms that you need to submit. And once they get the receipt and it comes back, then you can stay here and maintain status. You don't maintain status, but you're in a period of authorized stay, which they don't typically hassle you unless you do some violations like criminal charges or do something crazy. But you could stay here until a decision is made on your case. But again, you have to have a valid status beforehand, so you might have to have maintained some sort of valid status to be able to adjust status in the United States. Because there's 2 ways to apply for a green card. One is adjusting status in the United States. One is consular processing through the embassy. They're more strict on people filing within the United States. So if you have violations, for example, you did unauthorized employment or something else like that, that's an immigration violation, you're not permitted to adjust status in the U.S. However, let's say you had unauthorized employment, you worked without permission for 2 days, you can't adjust status in the U.S. You have to leave, but you can file for a consular processing, the green card through the embassy. They're more open to certain violations there. Now, this goes into a heck of a lot of legal stuff, so if you sense, or it's best to consult a lawyer to see if you have what's called inadmissibility issues, things that prevent you from getting a green card or things that prevent you from adjusting status under INA Section 245C. That's a code section, the statute that's there. These things prevent you from either adjusting status or even getting a green card. It's best to consult an attorney to see if these affect you, especially if you sense you might have something like that, especially if there's arrests or any criminal history or other violations. But the key point of part number 1 we're talking about here is that you can stay in the United States while your case is pending if you've maintained proper status at the time of filing Form I-485 adjustment of status application, and the time you can file that is on the visa bulletin. So there's many subparts you have to think about. There's Form I-485 when you apply it based on the visa bulletin, and then maintaining status until that's filed with proper admissibility or admissibility so that you can file in the U.S. And then you wait here until eventually an interview is called, and hopefully your interview is scheduled and you get approved before the end of September, because if you're not approved on the green card by then, you lose the opportunity to get a diversity visa. It gets canceled out. So that's point number 1. It's about if you can maintain your status here and remain in the United States while the case is pending. So let's go to point number 2, and this is about the financial aspect of the case. Historically, when you file for adjustment of status as a diversity visa holder, you don't need to submit what's called an affidavit of support. This is someone promising that they're going to take care of you in the United States in case you're going to become what's called a public charge, a person who can't support themselves financially, and so you need the help of someone else. What they looked at in the past, again, this is the past, is just have you finished 12 years of school, finish up to high school, 12-year program, or have you had 2 years of work experience in one area in the last 5 years? It's pretty simple. Now, they could be strict sometimes and want to know more about your education and finances in the past to see, is this a person that could support themselves here, or are they going to go on food stamps or need housing support? But it was very lenient. Now, after February 24, 2020, President Trump instituted harsher public charge requirements. So you still don't need to submit Form I-864 as part of the Diversity Visa Lottery Adjustment Program. So Diversity Visa Lottery is the name of the program. It's a lot of words. And then adjustment of status or just adjustment is a process for applying for a green card in the United States. You don't need Form I-864 affidavit support, but there's a new form, I-944, affidavit of self-sufficiency, and this is say I could take care of myself. And this is a heck of a lot of work, and it's really new, so we're not sure how it's going to play out, but there's a lot of things they're going to review to judge you personally to see if you're a person that's going to be a public charge in the U.S., meaning you can't take care of yourself. So in that application, they want to ask about your assets, how much money you have. They want to talk about your debts. Have you declared bankruptcy before? Maybe taxes, credit reports, health insurance, your health status. Is this a sickly person? Is it too young or too old? That's going to be going to the hospital, or too young to be able to work and do something. Maybe if you have a job offer, that's going to be helpful. And some more stuff to get a total picture of your background for someone to judge to see whether you're able to support yourself in the United States. So it's a big hassle if you're doing adjustment of status in the United States. Now, consular processing, if you leave, there's a form that they do called DS-5540. The form itself is much more simpler than the I-944 that you file within the United States, but consular officers have a huge amount of discretion in things, and it's hard to question them or to appeal it, whereas if you're in the United States, there's more leeway of getting congressional help or asking a supervisor to help. But the problem is, diversity visa lottery winners, they run out of time at the end of September. So if you have an interview late in the summer and a decision is not made or it's negative, and you start appealing it and complaining and stuff, you only have a small window of opportunity to do something. Maybe you can file a lawsuit and hold that place in line, but it gets really messy. So if you are adjusting status in the United States, you should probably talk with a lawyer because of this I-944 section to analyze your financial background, because it's such a complicated thing that's popped up, and it's really doubled the amount of time it takes to do an immigration case as before. It's pretty horrible. It's increased the time, the cost, and the headache to be able to file for adjustment of status in the United States. It's very unfortunate, but that's the second thing you have to deal with, this financial component, which is more than what it used to be, just high school degree or 2 years of work experience in the last 5 years. Now they're going to really analyze you as a person. Very judgmental, and could be very harsh depending on which officer is reviewing you. That was number 2, the financial component. Now we're getting to number 3. And this one doesn't have a clear answer, but it gets asked a lot. When you do win the diversity visa lottery, you get access to a form called DS-260. And DS-260 is the application you submit for a green card if you're going through the embassy process. But if you're adjusting status in the United States, you're applying for a green card from within the United States, Form I-485. So which one do you fill out? Well, for sure you have to fill out Form I-485 application for adjustment of status while you're in the United States to get the green card process happening in the United States. But that DS-260 is there. What do you do with that? Well, there's no official requirement that you complete the DS-260 and submit it. I've called the Kentucky Service Center, the KCC, Service Center, KC, whatever, the group that handles the diversity visa lottery in Kentucky, and they on the phone told me they're not sure either, unfortunately. So it's not really a requirement that you fill out the DS-260, but if you want to be safe, it doesn't hurt. Fill out the DS-260, but also then fill out the Form I-485 adjustment of status so you cover all ends. Again, there's no exact answer to whether to file DS-260 or not. Well, the exact answer is it's not required. It's not written in there, but you never know. When you're dealing with immigration, everyone makes up their own rules on the side of the government. So you might be doing everything by the book, and then some person doesn't understand it or just makes up something. So to be safe, I recommend my clients, and we go through it in complete form, DS-260. It's a lot of your biographic information, who your parents are, how long you lived in different places, all this kind of stuff. And you submit that, so that's on the record, and you also submit Form I-485. It's very important the information matches. You don't have inconsistencies in there, but it's a little bit extra thing to do as a precaution. So those are the three things that come up a lot. The main questions and worries that come up are people who win the green card lottery and want to file for adjustment of status in the United States, which goes to, can you maintain status here? Can you stay here while the case is pending? What's the financial situation? And what about Form DS-260? There could be a lot more things we have to review. If you want to file for a work permit, an EAD, or a travel permission, advanced parole, that's a separate talk to have, as well as if you have family members that are with you. There's a whole mess of stuff that we can talk about, but I wanted to make sure to bring these to your attention to help you, because these will probably be three major questions that come up when you first win and you're deciding what to do for the future. Thank you so much for listening. If you want more information, please visit the YouTube page where we have a lot more videos, daily videos popping up for the JQK Law Firm. That's a social media handle. And if you just type in JQK Law Firm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, you'll get all that information right there. And I think it'll help you a lot to further your immigration goals in the United States. Thanks again for watching this video, and contact my office if you'd like to schedule a consultation. My email is info@jqqlaw.com. Have a great one.